Escape from prosecution. The odor of a political fix around Amway's escape from prosecution and immediate rise in political status is difficult to avoid when one examines the facts of the FTC cases against Amway's peers and competitors in the early 1970s. The FTC attorneys argued the Amway pyramid scheme prosecution on essentially the same basis as the cases it had brought against at least two other MLM schemes, Holiday Magic and Coscott, which were both successfully shut down. Only Amway was allowed to stay in business. With its two main rivals shut down by government, Amway was left predominant in the new field of multi-level marketing, a position it holds still today. The FTC's lead attorney in the Amway case, Joseph Brownman, successfully prosecuted Holiday Magic. But after the perplexing Amway defeat, he made no public comment on the case for 40 years. Only after retiring from the FTC, Joseph Brownman broke his silence in 2018. On the Dream podcast, an 11-part documentary on multi-level marketing, Brownman said he took no direct part or even sought to stay informed about the subsequent FTC actions toward MLMs. Quote, "Maybe I was so disappointed I didn't care anymore," he said. He acknowledged that to this day, he is confused by Judge Timoney's ruling. Most puzzling to him was how the FTC staffs carefully gathered data from 5 states that documented market saturation for Amway recruits was, as he put it, not rejected, but ignored. There were no essential differences between Amway and the other two large MLM companies the FTC prosecuted, and no significant difference in the approach used in the respective FTC prosecutions. There was, however, an extrajudicial difference between the public profile of Amway's owners and the owners of those other two and their respective political status. As earlier noted, Amway's two founders held top positions with the National Republican Party and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Rich DeVos was a key fundraiser in the Ronald Reagan candidacy for president. They also presented themselves in conservative dress as traditional business executives, pious Christians, patriots, and philanthropists. They cultivated relationships among conservative politicians, hired mainstream lawyers, employed government officials as consultants, and associated Amway with heartland images. Amway's advertising spokesman was conservative comedian Bob Hope, known for entertaining American soldiers in foreign or combat locations. In jolting contrast, William Penn Patrick, the owner and CEO of MLM Holiday Magic, reportedly the fastest expanding MLM of that era, was a member of the extremist right-wing John Birch Society. In 1966, he ran against Ronald Reagan for the Republican nomination for governor of California on a platform far to the right of Reagan. A year later, Patrick was nominated for vice president of the United States by the outlying California Theocratic Party. In addition to his political quests, Patrick unsuccessfully fought against the adoption of one of the country's first state statutes against pyramid-selling schemes, California's Endless Chain Statute. A 1967 profile by Los Angeles Times columnist Paul Coates described Patrick as, quote, the strangest politician. It reported that when running for governor against Ronald Reagan, Patrick called Reagan a jackass, a harsh epithet to say publicly in that era. He launched a recall vote against Senator Frank Church of Idaho for his opposition to the Vietnam War. In a speech to the United Republicans of California, a conservative wing of the party, Patrick said, quote, "I disagree with those who want to impeach Earl Warren, Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. I think we should hang him." Former Assistant Attorney General of Wisconsin, Bruce Craig, recalls personally delivering a subpoena to Patrick in his office and noticing a pistol sitting on his desk. He did not know if it was loaded. Patrick produced an LP record in which he presented his prescription for living, happiness and success through principle. In the recording, he defends selfishness. Patrick exalted personal wealth as a reflection of how much good a person has done. The corollary being lack of wealth indicates a deficiency in virtue. Glenn Turner, the owner of the other large MLM the FTC prosecuted, was a clownish and controversial figure from South Carolina with a cleft palate and a background of extreme poverty. He used his background to brand his unlimited income schemes, claiming that if a poor boy with a hair lip could succeed, anyone could. In a 2018 feature article on the unfinished castle Turner was building in the Orlando area before law enforcement closed down his pyramid scheme, Turner is described by the real estate agent as attention-seeking and money-obsessed. Quote, "He wore red suits and was flashy and drove Cadillacs and was all about himself. He would hold these seminars and run in front of everyone and yell, 'Money, money!'" Turner's attorney was the publicity-crazed F. Lee Bailey, who was eventually indicted on mail fraud charges in connection with his ties to Turner. Turner unsuccessfully ran for a congressional seat in Florida as a Democrat in 1974, when the Republican incumbent was indicted for taking bribes in return for his influence with the Federal Housing Administration. Turner learned about multi-level marketing as a top recruiter in William Patrick's Holiday Magic scheme. He defected from Holiday Magic and launched his own scheme, different only in name and line of products offered. The constant increase in the number of MLMs is officially reported as company startups. In reality, each of them, from DeVos and Van Andel's defection from Neutralite to form Amway, and Turner's defection from Holiday Magic to form Costco, to now, perhaps more than 1,000 others, is actually just the broadening of one gigantic, quote, endless chain, with many tentacles. In structure, policies, practices, and consequences, all MLMs are essentially identical. Holiday Magic and Costco were shut down, and Turner went to prison. Amway, to the amazement of the FTC's own staff attorneys who brought the case, was exonerated and its founders showered with honors by America's political and business establishment. In the emerging ideology politics of Ponzinomics, all MLMs are equal, but some MLMs are more equal than others.